So good evening again. Welcome to this month's, it's Fireside Chat on the go. We have been traveling around town a little bit. If you remember, a few months ago, we went to see 𝗪𝗆 in her living room. And last month we were visiting a woodworker. And today we're back here at church outside in the flower garden, in the prayer garden. So thanks for joining us. And again, my name is Pastor Jim. I'm First Lutheran, and our guest this evening is my wife, Laura. Now you're thinking, why did I decide to bring my wife, Laura, to the prayer garden and to ask her some questions for you that you might learn something? Well, the reason is because I've learned that some of you do not know who my wife is, as we've been out here with the drive-up communion, and some of you have stopped and said, "Is that your wife? I didn't realize that is who you were with," and you were a little cozy with her. So I just kind of want to set the record straight that the person who's been assisting in worship and helping me with the drive-up communion is truly Laura, and so it's only fair that I introduce Laura to you. So what I want to do today is introduce you to Laura, my wife, but have her tell you a little bit about herself, what she does here at Beaver Dam, and maybe a little bit about her nursing history, some of her other nursing jobs that she's had before Beaver Dam. And so let's thank you for being with me today, Laura, and why don't you go ahead and tell the congregation a little bit about yourself and how you spend your days.
Well, Jim has already, our pastor has already told you that I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 31 years. I celebrated the 30th year of my nursing career with a pandemic. I tell people that's not something that they prepared you for in nursing school, but nurses are flexible and we get by. I have worked in everything from a hospital that's 50 beds or less to one of 500. So probably the smallest hospital I've worked in is the one here in Beaver Dam. I work full-time there. I am fortunate enough to be more of a Monday through Friday nurse at this point in time, and I work during the day, but I have done night shifts, day shifts, holidays, weekends, on call, not on call. I currently work in cardiac and also in the radiology or medical imaging department in interventional radiology, which we help people who need procedures. Like if you need a biopsy and you need to have it done with x-ray, then I'm the nurse that kind of gets you through it. So I started my career at UW Hospital in Madison, so that was the 500-bed hospital. At that time I worked in cardiothoracic surgery, took care of heart transplants, lung transplants. That was pretty newer, much newer back then. It's become much more routine, but enjoyed that. I've worked in outpatient surgery. Through COVID, I worked actually inpatient in the Beaver Dam Hospital and took care of COVID patients, but I also had the joy of working in the vaccine clinic once we finally got a vaccine. So, done a lot of different things. Love nursing. It affords me to be able to have a career, but also the flexibility to do different parts of nursing as my life changes. When all of our kids were little, or when Pastor was in school, I was able to work a little less or have different hours than I do now.
So many of you may have gone through the Beaver Dam Hospital and had Laura as your nurse, and I know with HIPAA laws we cannot share that information, and but small town, we see each other around, and I just kind of thought it would be good for you to know that we are both in the community here to serve you and help take care of one another. Laura, also tell the folks about being a pastor's wife is nothing new in your life or in your family.
I am actually third generation pastor's wife. So my father was a pastor and also retired bishop. And then my mom's father was also a pastor. So when my mom was in college, or a young lady, and she's also a nurse, so there's kind of something there between nurses and pastors, must make good teams. But when she was in nursing school, she said, I am never going to marry a pastor. And then she met my dad, and I guess he must have wooed her. But yeah, so I grew up in the church. I know what it's like to be a pastor's kid. Obviously, times are a little different now than like when my mom grew up and was a pastor's kid, or when I did. But it's not something new to me. It wasn't when Pastor told me that he felt the calling to be a pastor, and I knew this even before I married him, but it wasn't something that scared me. And
we actually met in the church while we were working with high school youth. So we dated during working in youth ministry.
Yes, so not a bad place to meet a future spouse is in the church. You're finding hopefully a quality person. But yeah,
so if you have any more questions, we'll be serving the drive-up communion this Sunday. Come by, or I think Laura, you'll be assisting on Sunday as well. So
yep,
right?
I'll be at the 8 o'clock worship assisting. So,
but I just thought it would be good for you to know that that I'm not necessarily snuggling with the other with the assistants and with the people who help here, but it is truly Laura, and she's my wife, and so I just wanted you to know that. So again, thank you for joining us. Take care, be well, and we'll see you in church.